So is the goal still to move electronics manufacturing to the United States?
We certainly need to have semiconductors and the downstream electronics supply chain move to the United States. What happened is, it's not really an exception, that's not even the right word for it. What happened is this type of supply chain moved from the tariff regime for the global tariff, the reciprocal tariff, and it moved to the national security tariff regime, where we have studies ongoing for pharmaceuticals, for semiconductors, metals, etc. So it's not that they won't be subject to tariffs geared at reshoring, they'll just be under a different regime. It's shifting from one bucket of tariffs to a different bucket of potential tariffs.
But those tariffs aren't in place.
That's right.
So they are exempt
that is subject
from
to study by the Commerce Department. For now, they're subject to a 20% tariff. They're subject to a 20% tariff. That's on China.
The Commerce Secretary was on another network this morning, and he said semiconductors are, quote, exempt from reciprocal tariffs, but that won't be a permanent sort of exemption. Here's what you told my colleague Nicole Killian April 8th.
Why aren't there any exemptions with some of these tariffs, sir?
The president decided that we're not going to have exemptions. We can't have a Swiss cheese solution to this universal problem that we're facing.
So I hear you saying the carve-outs are temporary, but isn't that still the Swiss cheese situation you said you were trying to avoid?
I would just disagree with that, Margaret. We have two different tariff programs. You have the global reciprocal tariff getting at the trade deficit, and you have critical sector national security tariffs, where we have tariffs in place on autos, steel and aluminum, and we have them coming on semiconductors in the supply chain, pharmaceuticals, lumber, copper, etc. They're just different approaches to do it. We have to be much more deliberate about the semiconductor supply chain, because we don't even import semiconductors as such that much, right? They go into downstream products. So we have to be very careful, and we want the whole supply chain here, not just one product.
So the president said on Monday he'd be much more specific. Will we see those sectoral tariffs announced? I mean, he's saying he's already putting big tariffs on pharma. You're telling me that there's going to be an investigation into it. That's something that sounds like it's far in the future. What time frame are we talking about?
Well, for the national security tariffs, you have to do an investigation in order to impose the tariffs. That's just legal process. That's how we do it. That's how it was done for steel and aluminum, autos, etc.
Right, but you've decided the outcome.
Investigations for those. No, we have not. We have not. That's why they're exempt. That's why they're, they don't have a tariff covered right now, because you have to go through the investigation to determine the outcome.
Okay.
We expect there will have to be some kind of tariff on that, but we have to go through the investigation, figure out what's appropriate, and that's a Commerce Department function to do that.